I feel like pineapple on pizza is like the Nickelback of pizza toppings. People say they hate it.
Jiggle, 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 jiggle. Hello.
Lola, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm well. My voice is starting to feel the effects of about 10-ish hours of streaming between Friday and Saturday, but I'm otherwise doing good.
I'm only on my first hour. 23 more to go.
Yay! God, I can't imagine doing like 24 hours. That's amazing.
It's going to be a challenge, that's for sure.
I've made sure to take some breaks and just like listen to some Lego cooking ASMR whilst just chilling with chat. It's just
Yeah,
like regular ASMR, but with the cooking, but like stop motion Lego stuff. It's great.
okay, that sounds actually pretty good.
Adorable.
I've got a couple 1 hour breaks that I'm going to be taking throughout the stream, but just two. That's it.
Very smart.
Anyways, let's get started with things. Would you like to introduce yourself? Name, pronouns, what you do.
Sure, yeah. My name is Lolotov Cocktail on Twitch. I call myself Lola. Pronouns are she, her, and they, them. I am a streamer on Twitch. I do weird indie games, like good games with cool stories. Every Friday, I stream Dwarf Fortress because I love naming the dwarves after people in chat, and just like that's just like weird indie game and good story game. So that's all of my zhuzh.
Oh, that's pretty great. Chat loves to get involved.
Absolutely. That's just the best way to be, you know.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So, how did you decide on your handle slash VTuber name?
So that's an origin story that I've mentioned a couple of times over the course of the past couple of days, so it is fresh in my head. Um, Basically, when I started off doing this about 4 years ago, I was going by basically the name Forever GM, and it was like it's not unique enough. There were too many other people that already had that name, so my brain kind of threw up this like old core memory from back in the days of Left 4 Dead 2. Um, the back when Valve used to actually make games. You know, that being the
In the
days of
before
like
four times.
right, the far off times of 2000 whenever. But yeah, so like I was playing Left 4 Dead with my friends, and like the sense of humor of like the internet in those early times was like lol random XD, and
I remember.
I was throwing a firebomb at some zombies, and I was like, haha, Lolotov. And my brain decided to take that and just like put it in the ground. And then, like many years later, when I decided I wanted a name for streaming, it just burst out like a 17-year cicada, and its time was ready. It was like, yes, this needs to be my thing. And yeah, that's kind of how it started. I did like 2 years of like face cam streaming, and as kept doing it, I was like, I don't like how I look in this face cam. Like it makes me feel uncomfortable in a way that I cannot define. And I started talking around to people. I'm like, oh, this is dysphoria. I, I did not know there was a word for it. And the people who like taught me were also into VTubing, and I was like, oh, this is a thing that I can do with a camera and still something that looks more like me.
I can just hear the
And it was
eggshells cracking.
right. It was a long time coming, and just so many little taps throughout my life of just like, huh. I wonder why I always pick like femme characters in customizable like avatar type based games. Must be something weird. Yo.
They look nice. That's got to be it. The only reason. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Just like yeah, I just like the female characters in the fighting games because they're more responsive and they're quicker. I like
They
looking
got
at
the
them.
smaller hitboxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
So, do you have a catchphrase?
Um, I greet everybody with "Hello, comrades," and whenever anybody follows, I say thank you, and that I shall throw a flaming bottle of love through the windows of your heart.
I love that. That is just great.
Thank you. I had workshopped a whole bunch of things and just like live, and that was the only one that didn't make me cringe.
Well, I mean, embrace your cringe.
Absolutely.
It's so much fun.
hmm
So, would you consider yourself say so, unsay so, or lewd?
I would consider myself probably lewd, but at the same time, I don't make it the focus of my VTubing. Like I play games that are adults. We discuss like sexual themes along sometimes, but um I wouldn't consider myself a lewd tuber along the lines of like people who have their let's call them blue Twitch platforms or whatever.
Yeah, or the creators that go out of their way to make lewd content.
Yeah, like I've definitely got some unsay so like art out there, but like that's more that kind of gives me the good gender feelings rather than something that I paywall or whatever.
Yeah, like for me, I just do a lot of art that I like to do, and well, I like to make the subjects different VTubers.
It's
So,
great.
good times.
Art makes the VTuber world go round, which and so like artists are just yep, you guys are gals and NB folks are just you are the real heroes.
Some of the unsung heroes. There's quite a lot of background people in streaming, actually.
Oh yeah, we stand on the shoulders of giants. Like the people who do the coding for like people who do the rigging, the people who make all the little like tech shortcuts that we take for granted now, who had to work that all out manually. Just like
Mm-hmm.
I I can like I said, shoulders of giants. We
And every
like
single
just
one of our chatters that and lurkers that are there supporting us.
absolutely. Like anyone, yeah, everyone from like whoever donates to just like the lurkers who are listening in, they are all a part of the experience, and it's only together that we make this all what it is.
Mm-hmm. So, what kind of audience do you want to reach?
My type of audience, I think, is people who are, yeah, people who are at least left leaning, people who are interested in like, stories, people who want to congregate and find a place where they are free from any like bigotry. Generally, people who are just as excited about games as I am, and I would love to like grow my audience into an audience that like that hangs out regularly together and does things, but regardless of whether or not I'm there. I want to have that space where people feel like they can be themselves with no with no threat of oppression.
Absolutely. That's a great kind of community to cultivate. So, what first inspired you to start getting into streaming and content?
So this is probably going to sound cliche, but like from ever since I was young, I've always enjoyed having an audience. Um, when I was
Me
got
too.
it in like single digit ages, I would put on like little performances for like family members that like my brothers and I would just make out of like whatever props we had to hand. Um, we would just make our own little skits or like copy ones that were on like the TV at the time. Um, I was a drama kid, big surprise. Um, I I felt like I wanted to do like acting type stuff, but it never really had the opportunity. There weren't that many avenues for it where I grew up, and then um, I got inspired by by like a lot of those like early uh like pre-YouTubers, like the people who were on Channel Awesome before all of the stuff happened with that. I watched them kind of spread out and do their own thing, and I absorbed a good bit of their kind of style at one point, and then finally, like about 4 years ago, like one of my friends who was also streaming, I'd been watching her for a while, and she basically gave me that push to start. I was just like paralyzed with nerves before that first day, and if it weren't for her, like bring me on her streams to like hang out and chat and like help develop a bit more of my style and to give me that push to start, I don't know if I'd ever have begun. So so yeah, I think that's yeah. I've always just wanted to entertain.
And that's such a wonderful friend to actually help you find that
Absolutely.
passion for you and help you or help what's that phrase? Help connect you to the resources to actually pursue that passion.
Oh yeah, she sat me down with like OBS and like how to set it all up and how to do all of those other things, and she was just supportive, like emotionally and everything else, as well as like teaching me the skills of how to do it all. Um, once I've got all my other stuff sorted out, I want to get like a tattoo with her. Just like I'm get like, do you remember Undertale with the "Despite everything, it's still you" like text box? I want to get a tattoo of that on my left forearm, and she's going to get one on her right.
Really? I never actually
Yeah.
played Undertale. Oh, okay. I found the meme.
Okay. So yeah, that's what we want, and then that way we
Nice.
are both we're just kind of united by that phrase of coming through hardships and still and like growing and becoming better people.
Yeah, and actually supporting each other through that stuff.
Hmm.
What kind of content do you want to do more of?
That's a good question. Like there's a lot of stuff that I already do that I feel like suits me well. Um,
But like, is there an
I
area that you feel you'd want to put more focus on?
I've wanted if I don't know if my audience would be up for it, but like if I were gonna branch out into something, it'd be like doing some more like reading streams. It's difficult to find books that are uh, open license, but like visual novels do really well for that. And I've actually been doing a little bit of reading of some books here as part of the Prideathon stream.
Oh,
People
nice.
say that my yeah, people say my voice is like a very like relaxing one, and so I I kind of want to do a little bit more of that, and maybe like move into voice acting if the opportunity comes up. I've been that's something I definitely want to shoot for.
Honestly, I would love to get into voice acting as well. It just you got to take the time to actually prep a demo reel and then pursue projects and stuff, whether or not you'll actually get paid for it. Because I mean, you kind of got to get your name out there.
Exactly.
Is there a kind of content you would like to do less of or move away from?
Honestly, I feel like I experimented a lot when I started off, and the stuff that I haven't felt good doing, I have dropped. um it's important to like play to your strengths, and sometimes it can be easy to keep doing something if it brings in audiences and it brings in donations, but if it doesn't make you happy, then people are going to see that. And the biggest thing that I kind of dropped off of is like more competitive multiplayer games. um Dead by Daylight was one of the ones I started off with, and I did not like what it did to me as a person. Like how the original audience for Dead by Daylight was very like hyper competitive, and people would come into my streams and like complain about how the game went, especially since I was the killer most of the time. That that is, I decided I didn't want to do that anymore, and so I dropped it. Most of the time now, I feel like the things that I do because I want to.
Nice. That's how you want to pursue it, honestly. Because yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. If you're not doing stuff that you actually enjoy, your audience picks up on that, and they kind of passively lose interest in you.
Oh yeah, I
Just kind of the effect of how it goes.
one of the most important things, like one of the ways that I learned that was listening to like Dead by Daylight YouTubers. There was this one called Tide Time. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but
Not
basically
particularly.
all they did was Dead by Daylight content, and they basically they at one point did like an announcement video saying, "I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm going to be changing up my streams to do more uh, to do like other things." And he watched as his metrics just dropped off, and his heart just sank, realizing that he's going to have to go back to Dead by Daylight videos because like that was all that was like bringing in the metrics. And that's I never want that to happen to me.
Yeah, that definitely can be a concern about like what do I actually want to try out, and then what is actually getting attention. Do I
Mhm.
want that actual kind of attention, that kind of thing?
That's the double-edged sword you have as a variety streamer is you
Absolutely.
may not you may not grow at the same rate as people who like focus on one game, but at the same time, if it means that I never get bored with one.
It also means the people that do stick around are sticking around specifically for you, your personality.
Ex- exactly. I mean, yeah, I've had people here who, for some reason, they'll listen to me play like Dwarf Fortress every Friday, but like I want the kind of people who doesn't matter if you're here playing like an indie game, a AAA game, or reading a Chuck Tingle novel on stream.
Yeah, the people that just like listening to what you have to say and like watching along, essentially.
Absolutely.
Is there something you wish you were taught when you first got into content creation?
That's a good question. I think something that needs to be. I feel like maybe the lesson didn't sink in as much as it should have. But what I would teach people is what I wish I was taught is learn how to do like multiple social media platforms, get yourself out there, like commit to it as you're able to, and be prepared for none of that to necessarily work because
Mm-hmm.
it's as much as it is uh effort, it's also a matter of luck. And but just like what the algorithm throws into the faces of the right people, and and who picks up on that. And like that's yeah, networking is just really important for that. There's a lot of people who are
Absolutely.
part of my audience that came in with other raids or like friends of friends, and if I hadn't known those people, like they're some of the most dedicated people in my audience, and I if I hadn't put in that effort to reach out to other people, I would not know them. Something else I would teach is that other streamers are not competition.
No, they're your
If we
coworkers.
exactly if we all work together rather than trying to compete with one another, that's the attitude that we want to see. But it's just yeah, if you see someone going into like someone else's stream as something that is taken from you, then all that does is harbor resentment. You gotta you gotta be the kind of streamer that someone wants to come and see.
Absolutely. Like when I see people that are regulars in my chat, but then like I'm hanging out in a friend's stream, and then I also happen to see those viewers in my friend's chat, I'm like, hell yeah, they like supporting my friend too. I love their content.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, that's
And it's
kind of
also
a healthy way to look at it.
yeah, and it also provides you information on, oh, this is the kind of content that my audience also enjoys if you see them in another person's stream. And it's like, if I'm familiar, if I like doing that content as well, maybe they want to see it on my channel. It's information that you can use.
Absolutely. I do like that YouTube has analytics to actually tell you what other videos and what other channels that your viewers actually watch as well. I think Twitch has that as well. I can't remember. I haven't looked at their analytics in months.
Yeah, I see it through like the stream summary. It's like some of your like this is the percentage of audience in that like shares an overlap with these people, or like through your mutuals, and it's like, oh, well, that tells me some stuff about what my audience is, how I can grow it, and
And what
uh,
other niches you could potentially appeal to outside of where you're already crossing over.
exactly. Love the analytics. I love information, especially when it's presented well and it lets you know what you can do better.
Oh, absolutely. Really like having that information available. Is there a
Def-
kind of content you've wanted to make or see but feel like it's too niche?
I that's a good one. I feel like it's kind of similar to reading streams, like maybe doing some kind of scripts and everything like on stream that would be kind of relaxing or reassuring, but I don't know if my audience is the kind of people who would listen to that. So it's something that I don't know if I would dedicate a like a mainstream to. Like it would kind of maybe be a thing on a weekend that I'm like, hey, let's try this out and see if you guys like it. But it's one of those things that because I'm not actively like engaging my brain in doing like the game as well as talking to people, it kind of leaves a lot of my headspace just free to worry that I'm not being entertaining.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's so hard to just like you're live. Obviously, you want to maximize how many viewers you have, that kind of thing. But it feels so counterintuitive to just don't think about your viewers. Think about putting on the best performance you can for your stream. And most of the time, if you're fixating on your viewers, that has a negative impact on the performance of your stream.
Definitely.
I've seen that unfortunately in a lot of different streamers. Let's see. What's the biggest project you're currently working on?
That's a good one. I am working on my I'm waiting on a lot of stuff for my 2.0 model, and trying to put together stuff for a debut is definitely it's difficult without having all of the assets. But um, I want to do like a debut, but it's like so much stuff that everyone else does that is better at it than me, and so it's it's a quick case of like how big do I want the debut to be, like, and how much of a big deal I want it to be. Because I've already been streaming for like 4 years, been a VTuber for like 2 years, um, and like so like how much of it do I really want to? How much of my resources do I want to gamble on it being successful?
Yeah, like I mean, I've been a VTuber for over a year now and I didn't like do any specific debut until I switched over to this model, then I did like an actual debut. And even then I don't think it turned out well. It was just kind of a way of, trying to boost promotion of my channel. What we all like doing.
Yeah, I remember debuting my VTuber model, and I was just incredibly nervous because it was I was like at the most my eggshell was barely cracked, and like me just scrambling out of it, and I'm like, oh my god, like please don't turn away from me because I'm going from being like one thing to being this, and my um and just like I was very lucky that my audience either did not leave or stuck around or grew as much as it did. But the overwhelming reaction was just like, it's still you, and we're here for you, and that was really moving. But I hadn't focused on like making a big deal of it or anything, or like doing any like presentations or like over elaborate lore videos, because I was mostly just focused on like, I'm I'm changing my gender, like please be patient with.
Yeah, and it's not the impossible to cultivate an audience that'll actually be supportive of transitioning. I mean, Mr. Beast is doing it.
Oh, is he?
Mr. Beast is not transitioning, but one of his friends did recently come out, and he's been supportive of
Oh,
them.
yes, yes. I thought you meant that like he was going into VTubing and just like
Oh no.
brain was like, what? I'm sure he has the money for it, but yeah,
Oh,
I've
absolutely. I
heard.
just don't think he has the interest in VTubing
Right.
particularly. I wouldn't be
Yeah, I
surprised if he did eventually, though.
I heard about his friend like transitioning, and that's
Okay,
so
yeah.
great that he is like so supportive of it, and
Like one of the
everybody
largest
was the
platforms for pushing trans rights. It's like,
it,
yes.
exactly. It's yeah, we could not ask for better like support from such a big content creator.
I know, right? And he's not even doing that much. He's just saying, they're still my friend. They're still going to be in videos. What's the big deal?
And I think that may be the best way to handle it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just leaving it so that all the reactionaries pushing against Mr. Beast's friend are just looking kind of, snowflakey because a trans person exists in the videos that they watch.
And that's kind of the best way to do it, because for so long they've kind of pushed the narrative that the left wing are all like emotional snowflakes, but really over time they've just become more and more unhinged, whilst
Like
study after study gives us the reels to fight their feels.
oh my god, they call us snowflakes, but then they have a mental breakdown when they see a rainbow in Target.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
If you could collaborate with any content creator, who would it be? I gotta
It's
edit that.
a good one. I there's like so many like big name people, but when you get audiences that big, it's difficult to interact with your audience at the time. But I would probably say, I've been in and out of her streams, but we've never really labbed on anything. I would say Marina.
Oh yeah,
You know Marina? Yeah,
Marina
she's
VT.
exactly, yeah, she's well, yeah, I'm sure, yeah, if you're aware of her, then yeah, she's pretty big, and she's at Offkai right now.
Yeah, she
But
is.
yeah,
I saw a
I
little bit of
just
a sneak peek of one of the panels she was in. I wish I could be there to see that panel, but maybe
me
next year.
too. Yeah, just like there's just so many people there who are discussing like trans issues, and just it'd be great to like see her perspective, on that panel,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great to see that just kind of human side of them. But yeah, I'd love to
Absolutely.
I'd love to do more with Marina. She's a great person, and I really enjoy vibing with her.
I would honestly love to talk with her as well. Just like get to know her a bit more on stream
Mhm.
because a lot of people only really know about like if you're not within her community more or less or directly in her orbit, you don't really know too much about her aside from
Mhm.
her activism pretty much. Or the people trying to
Right.
character assassinate her with like drama.
God, yeah. I've seen so much of that, and it's like, do you have nothing better to do with your time than to like
Oh my god, I know, right?
mischaracterize it? So
I'm a
if you
drama tuber, but
really,
they're drama mongers.
right, like if you really hated her, and like if you really had anything on her, you'd be able to say it and it'd be the truth. But like, you just have to make shit up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's so petty. Like, if you're gonna come at me with something that's true.
Or at least be funny about it.
Right.
Have you had a collab that really stands out to you?
Let's see. I've not done very many of them, but um, I think one of the more like casual fun ones was like doing one between like it was like five other VTubers. It was like me, Yame, Riri, Musical Fox, and what was it? What's his? I'm blanking on his name. Pokamune. The five of us did a First Class Trouble collab. First Class Trouble is basically it's like Among Us, but it's 3D and like has like a classy like 1950s kind of vibe to it. And there's like multiple stages, like the survivors, like the crewmates can kill people too. Um, there's a lot more like depth to it than like Among Us, and so I like that. But yeah, it was just a really fun time to like meet new VTubers and to just vibe with people who would not I probably would not have entered their spheres and like found them if not for that collab.
Oh yeah, I've definitely had some like that, like some different creators that I just never really would have interacted with or even known about aside from, hey, I'm friends with somebody else that's friends with them. And turns out they're pretty cool to play games with. No wonder my friends is friends with them.
Hell yeah.
What skill would you say has taken you the longest to improve?
Um, I would probably say probably like operating OBS and like adding new stuff into it. It's like making sure that it behaves with all the other bits of software. Like, it's definitely better than Streamlabs, but there's just so many little fiddly elements, and it's gotten better over the years. But I've had to sit down and basically force myself to learn tutorials of like how to how to do like slideshows, how to like do the little like graphical thing where you zoom in on like someone's face and it like look natural and swap back and forth between all of them and like figure out how to get the transition to work correctly between each of those like separate scenes. And there's so much to learn, and I'm sure there's so much more that I still could. And even then, sometimes I'll like accidentally hit a button and like erase like a month of progress in like configuring things. And but yeah, it's worth it. But my goodness, it has been taxing sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does get taxing to keep working at it, but I mean, it does pay off as long as you keep doing it.
Absolutely, you gotta keep at it, or it's like if you stop moving, then you stagnate, and that's just for like everything in life.
Yeah, the stagnation is really where it can start to spiral downwards and then become destructive. Then that just kind of undoes all your hard work if you just let that spiral keep going.
Hmm.
So, how do you like to spend your free time not working on content?
Um, that's a good question, and I when I look at my kind of spare time, I find a lot of it still is content creation in a way. Um, I I'm
Same.
currently rereading the like Discworld books, and that's like the only thing I can definitely say is like not content related because it's for me it's like getting back to my roots. Um, my I used to live in the UK like many years ago now, but when I came over here, I had to leave behind a whole bunch of books. Um, Mainly among them the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. And I've been rereading them, and there's like they still hold up to this day. The lessons that they teach about like being at like anti-capitalist, about being like pro-queer, um, so much of it still holds up to this day, and it's
Nice.
kind of a way of like reconnecting with my roots and like being able to read a British aura that isn't a complete just that isn't a turf is is good. But
That is really good because anti-capitalism and pro-transes are kind of my axioms.
absolutely. I was trying to think of like something else they're doing. Like the biggest thing other than like gaming and forcing myself not to make content out of it is is being a GM for like my group. I have I have a group that we meet kind of almost every week, and we do like D&D, we do a bunch of other role playing games, but like in between, I do like prep for that stuff, and it's like it's basically content creation for a much smaller audience, and it's for friends, but it's and so in that way, it's a little more casual. But at the end of the day, I'm still getting an audience for myself.
I mean, yeah, when you're a public figure, like kind of everything does eventually turn public sooner or later. Not always, like there can definitely be steps to be taken to avoid that, but the bigger you are, the more people actively search for more stuff of you to find.
That's very true. Like, you know, like when you're not streaming, it's like, do you have any like YouTube shorts? Do you have any TikToks? And I'm like, I want to branch out into that stuff, but at the same time, it's like, what do I put down that's funny? Like, what's going to reach out to these new people and appeal to them? I have no idea, and like, not knowing that makes me a little bit uncertain when it to like even try. You know?
Yeah, yeah, like it's it was really hard for me to actually start deciding, hey, I'm kind of done with Twitch. I want to start moving towards YouTube. But I couldn't just jump overnight from one platform to the other. I had
Hmm?
to consistently get that content, those videos out there where my audience would actually start going to my YouTube over my Twitch. I had to incentivize that, and my videos did that.
Yeah.
Now, the next question, where are we? Where do you want to see your platform in 5 years?
That's a great question, and not knowing what the state of the media is going to be in 5 years is kind of scary. But assuming that it stays at least partly relevant, I would love to be able to do this full time. You know, instead of working like full time and then doing content creation as my side thing. I'd love to just be able to put my full like heart and soul into all of this and make it a thing that I can be proud of and sustain myself. Because doing like customer service at a call center for like health insurance pays the bills, but I it does not bring me joy in any way, shape, or
Yeah, I mean, I'm that way with my day job too. I absolutely don't want to do it, but bills got to get paid.
absolutely.
But I mean, YouTube is getting easier and easier to monetize with. At least you can start crowdfunding earlier than before.
Yep, Twitch is slowly gaining new competitors in the market, and for better or worse, they're going to have to realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, would you happen to have a favorite music genre?
Ooh. I don't know if I would say my taste in music is very eclectic, and it really depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Um, I most of the time I need like an emotional connection to that music in the first place. Like it has to relate to something that was going on in my life. Like whether it's a game I was playing, whether it was like somebody like sent me a song and was like, "Hey, this reminds me of you," or reminds me of a game that we were playing. Um, that that's typically my that's typically what my YouTube list consists of. and so it ends up being a mixture of like video game soundtracks, um, like anime remixes, bits of like death metal in between. And
Nice.
so and so yeah, I don't really know if I have a favorite genre. But I actually no. If I had to pick, I'd probably say like ballads, like music that has like a story to it. Things that like
Okay.
tena- so like stuff like Tenacious D and like
Yeah.
Ninja Sex Party, like that is like music that tells a story. Like even if it's like just completely out there and batshit insane, like there's a beginning, middle, and end to that story that's going on. Like if it's like Ninja Sex Party, go to the year 6969, or you
Nice.
know,
Nice.
yeah, or like Tribute. Yeah, it's a tale of how they met a demon and they played to it and it fucked off. It's
It's
I
trippy.
love stories like that that have music that has a story.
Yeah, like a through plot kind of thing.
Hmm.
What song would you say or would be endless or played endlessly on loop in your personal hell?
Without a doubt, it would be the instrumental of Sateki Dane from like Final Fantasy X, with Tidus just in the background endlessly going ah ha 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 ah ha 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 ha.
Have you ever heard that song mashed up with Into Club by 50 Cent?
I have not,
Oh my
but
god, it
like
is so good. Search up
maybe
Final
I sh-
Fantasy XXX or Final Gangstasy XXX Suteki da Club, and it is so good.
oh my god, I'm gonna find this now. Okay, oh no, just the thumbnail alone is like
You see the
horrifying.
thumbnail, perfect. I don't even need to
uh,
confirm. You've seen it.
I'm gonna watch that like after our interview here, then before I get back to Celeste.
And then you can share the glorious cringe with everybody else. I really like
'Cause
that song.
ain't no cringe like glorious cringe. Like if you're going to cringe, like go all in. Don't dip your toe in, just throw yourself in bodily.
Own your cringe. Own this Shill's
Mm.
body pillow.
And what is it that, in the words of Parthenax the dragon, which is better, to be born based or to overcome your cringe through great effort?
Yeah, I'd say it's better to overcome your cringe through great effort.
Exactly.
So, do you have a food that you like that not many others do?
Ah, I will say that like it seems to get a lot of backlash, but or like there's not a lot of people that like it. But I like pizza that has barbecue sauce on it.
Yeah?
It opens up like a whole different genre of toppings that otherwise wouldn't necessarily go well together, and just the sauce just it's a I like that, and a lot of other people don't.
Yeah, I've had barbecue chicken pizza before. It's not too bad. It's not really my cup of tea because like my typical pizza choice is the objectively correct taste choice of pineapple. But like that doesn't really go well with barbecue sauce in my opinion.
Yeah, like a lot of people say that pineapple is bad, but I'm like, I feel like pineapple on pizza is like the Nickelback of pizza toppings. People say they hate it, but the moment a Nickelback song comes on, they're like, "Oh, turn that shit up,"
We all
without
want to
realizing that
be
it's
big
Nickelback.
rock stars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many good Nickelback songs, and yet people just constantly shit on them because it's like a meme at this point to shit on Nickelback.
And they've
But
like
like,
kind of transcended the meme too. They just don't care anymore.
exactly. And like
It is
that's the
so
best way to
great.
be. Like like the best thing that you can do in that situation, if you're painted into that corner, is just live that particular truth.
Yeah. Just be honest with your cringe. If you could have anything for breakfast, what would it be?
Let's see. I really like these. Like if it didn't if it didn't give me like acid reflux to go there, I would probably say the like sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles from like McDonald's. Like it's got like a good like cross section of like protein and like meat and like sweet stuff just all together. And like it's terrible for me. But like if
Did you
that
just
was
say
not a
McGriddle?
yes, they're like little they're like the
They're the
top and
ones that
bottom are like
use
these like
pancakes as
syrupy
buns.
pancakes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, oh, teach their own. Teach their own.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm gonna go eat raw pineapple.
Raw pineapple is good too.
I gotta digest it before it digests me. Sigma energy.
Some fight.
What topic could you talk about the most?
Ooh. Okay. I probably could talk for pretty much forever either about the 40k universe or how about how politics is basically in everything. Partly because so many people have such a poor set of like media analysis skills that they will insist that there is no politics in like Star Trek or Fallout or 40k. And it's like, how dense do you have to be to ignore the obvious like political themes in like games that in and genres that have war and nations that and their different aims and ideals?
Yeah,
It's
like
like, what a
how deliberately media illiterate do you have to be to think Star Trek is not political?
it really has to be deliberate after a certain point. But yeah, like looking at like the
Especially
classic idea is
DS9.
mm-hmm, like even the original, you see like the overt stuff with like the aliens that have like one half of their face is white and the other half is black. I'm like, these are some incredibly subtle themes here. Like surely this isn't political whatsoever.
Absolutely.
It has to be deliberate at that point. You have to just be burying your head in the sand and being like, la la la, I like the lasers and nothing else.
And at that point, just go watch Star Wars, which is also political.
Right? These people with the great aesthetics and like the obvious Nazi imagery, they're the bad guys, but like, why are they the bad guys? I shouldn't examine this lest I end up thinking things about myself. Wait, you're telling me that Rage Against the Machine is political and doesn't support my current hateful ideology? What?
What do you think the machine they're raging against is?
Just a really bad toaster or their mum telling them to go to bed.
Like, not gonna lie, Star Wars is just Star Trek if the conservatives won.
Pretty much. And that's the thing. We have to remind ourselves that um the Federation only came about. We only gained a moneyless society where nobody necessarily has to work through like the historical context of World War III and the eugenics wars. It gets like as far as the timeline of the Star Trek universe is concerned, it gets way worse before it gets better.
Yeah, it really does. Like, if you actually look into the history of that lore, oh my god, it's so
Hmm.
bad. Negativity and negativity. Yeah, negativity associated with the word politics, political. Yeah, there's a lot of stigma behind the word
Yeah,
political.
at the risk of like betraying the fact that I've watched a particular YouTuber who is not all that popular with in certain circles.
A
Politics
horse
is
enthusiast?
dumb. Yes, a certain horse enthusiast.
Based.
Politics is dumb, but very important.
Politics is dumb, but very important. Yeah, he's 100% right there. Like most of his takes,
I'm
just not his
most
media.
of his takes most of his takes are good. Just like yeah, his there are so many instances where people have flipped his shit out of context and use it to just try and destroy him. And then he just
Yeah,
does not back down from certain people who then play it being wounded by his words when he is caustic without necessarily being bigoted.
Yeah, like you really gotta listen to the intent behind the words, not just the words themselves.
Mhm. Also, I'm really I love how you managed to pick up who I was going on about without even like going into any detail whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean,
There are very few people in that particular subset, though. I guess.
yeah, the funniest thing about like his community, not gonna lie, is that you can't tell if somebody hates him or loves him based on the memes made about him. Because like there's so many people trying to character assassinate him that the community itself just digs it and then plays along, and it also makes him laugh. It's so funny.
Uh-huh. And like he'll just go on to like Twitter and just find someone who's talking shit about him, and he's like, "Yeah, I hate this Vosh person. They're such a cringe asshole. Worst person ever."
Yeah,
And
just in
I
the
guess
replies. Or like
yeah,
you see literally any comment and then you see a screenshot of any comment about referencing horses at all, and then you just see the top half of his reply, so you don't even see how he replies. Oh, good
oh man,
times.
yep. Um, I hate the
What the
phrase woke though. It's become like absolutely meaningless.
Oh, I hate
Um,
it too. But I mean,
it's
I
like
played into it for a video recently. That's fun.
it has a meaning, and it has been defined in court by the governor of Florida because
Oh,
they had to
good. They're
define it.
they're
And
gonna
it
they're gonna get a good definition.
oh yeah, their lawyers basically said like it being alert to racial prejudice and discrimination. That's what they said in court, and that's basically what it means. So like the fact that they have admitted to that in court is it's just an indictment then of all of their political beliefs when they call literally anything woke. Like, what are you then? Sleep?
Yeah, like they've watered it down so much. You can use it for like anything progressive.
It's like what they did with critical race theory. Just
Mm-hmm.
and that one they weren't even subtle with it at all. Like Chris Rufo, the guy who invented it, literally was on Twitter saying, "If we can get people to associate whatever we don't like with critical race theory, then we can generate this same level of outrage against anything." And like, you just gave the game away. Like we know that that's what you've been doing all this time, but like,
Yeah, like
thank you for
literally.
admitting it. Thank you for saying it with your whole chest.
It's I appreciate it when they say it with their whole chest. It's less effort for me to actually work around to take their masks off. Cause holy shit, people are
Exactly.
so dumb. They just buy
hmm
it face value.
If they even have like a shred of the mask on, like there are so many people who are willing to give them the benefit of the doubt where they have not earned it.
Oh, I know. I can think of a
Oh.
few people like that.
hmm
Anyways, we're approaching the top of the hour mark, so would you like to shout yourself out for the end of the video?
Thank you. Yes. You can find me on Twitch on 7 p.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays Central Time at twitch.tv/ Lolotov Cocktail. Um, I, as I do indie games, like games with cool stories, and Dwarf Fortress on every Friday. It's a basically become a tradition in the channel at this point. Um, yeah, please feel free to stop by. I am also raising funds for Trans Lifeline. We are up to a total of, let's see, $724 out of my $1,000 goal. If I hit 1,000, then I will be forced to read more Homestuck.
You'd be reading Homestuck on stream.
I would be. I've gotten through like
Oh,
200 after the last stream, and the first 200 pages are some of the most boring nonsense ever. But uh,
I've
but I
never
pushed
read
through
it,
it.
but I can imagine.
Yeah.
Speaking of Trans Lifeline, let's I forgot to do that shout out at the top of the hour. But For everyone that doesn't know, Trans Lifeline is a grassroots hotline for and nonprofit organization offering direct emotional and financial support to trans people in crisis. Check them out at translifeline.org. And make sure to dono if you can. If you can't, spread the word about hashtag Prideathon. Dono.
Write it off on your taxes, people. You can do that.
That's what the rich people do. Let's take advantage of their system too.
Hell yeah. Like the pizza that I bought as a result of the charity stream here, I'm going to write that off as a business expense because I can.
Perfect. I didn't even actually know that.
Yeah, I did it last year, and the tax specialist I went to is like, "Did you mean to put this Domino's order on your thing?" And I'm like, this is the charity stream I ran it for." And she's like, "Oh, okay," and she just added it. No objections.
That is pretty sweet. I gotta do that.
Hell yeah. Keep your receipts.
Definitely. Always keep your receipts. Anyways, thank you for coming on. It's been such a pleasure to talk with you.
Yeah, likewise. I will throw your YouTube link into my chat as well, so
Oh
people
yeah, I
can.
didn't self promo on
Yeah, go ahead.
Trans Prideathon Discord either.
What so are you? Oh,
Terrible.
is it just youtube.com/@Mistress Briley?
Yeah, I think you can also just do at Mistress Briley /live to link directly to the stream. I'm gonna try that.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that actually does work.
Okay, and what are your usual schedule? Like if you stream live?
My usual streams I actually do on Saturdays, Sundays. Most of the time it's just Saturdays, not really on Sundays. Mostly
Fair enough.
because like I work full time and then I'm like lazy.
Understandable. Well, hey, I just subscribed to you, so
Oh,
I'll
thank
have
you.
to keep an eye out for you.
Well, if you don't catch any, or if you don't have the time to catch the streams, there's always the videos that I put out. Those are directly from my streams.
Yeah, I just saw there's like a color theory for like Gwen Stacy. I'm like, oh, that is very relevant. And there's a lot of my audience that dearly loves that movie. I have not seen it yet,
I
but
want to see it so bad.
But based on the reactions, it seems like I'm going to have to take a look into the Spider-Verse.
Alrighty, I gotta get running. But again,
All right,
thank you so much.
It was a pleasure to talk to you, Briley. I really enjoyed this.
Absolute pleasure. Have a good rest of your Prideathon.
You do the same. Bye.
Bye.